Before today's video, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest videos. If you want to see a case or topic covered by Paranormally Listed, then go to criminallylisted.com and fill out the questionnaire under the Suggest a Case tab. Number 3. Walking Sam. Walking Sam is a chilling and tragic figure that emerged from the Pine Ridge Indian Reserve in South Dakota. Not merely an urban legend or a ghost story, Walking Sam embodies a deeply unsettling intersection between folklore, mental health, and real-life crisis among Native American youth. In the early 2010s, a disturbing trend began to rise among the youth of the Ogallala Lakota tribe on the reservation. Reports came forward of mass teenagers attempting or completing deaths growing at an alarming rate. Unfortunately, the deaths were caused by taking one's own life. Amid this, the name started to be whispered among the community, Walking Sam. According to the legend, Walking Sam is a tall, shadowy figure, lean and haggard, and shrouded in darkness. He appears to young people struggling with depression and hopelessness. Said to be between 7 and 9 feet tall, he's often described as wearing a top hat and old-fashioned clothes, his arms nearly reaching the ground. He carries with him the spirits of those who have died because they took their own lives, their souls hanging around him like invisible chains. Elders and youth alike began to share stories of encountering this dark entity. Some described hearing him at night, whispering messages of despair. Others claimed to have seen him at the edge of the forest, beckoning them silently. These reports spread through schools and homes, feeding into a cycle of fear and sadness. The legend took on more urgency in 2015 when it was reported that Walking Sam had collected over 200 names of young people he tried to influence towards taking their own lives. At this point, there was a chilling account of a group of teenagers who allegedly planned a mass death by their own hands under his influence, but were stopped in time by community intervention. Authorities, mental health workers, and tribal leaders responded to this crisis with increased focus on outreach, education, and support. However, Walking Sam could not simply be dismissed as a ghost story. He symbolized the very real and pressing issues facing Native communities like poverty, historical trauma, substance abuse, and the lack of mental health services. Some believe that Walking Sam is a personification of historical and intergenerational trauma. He has inherited pain from colonization, forced relocations, broken treaties, and the cultural erasure suffered by Native Americans. Others say he is a way for young people to externalize the pain they cannot otherwise articulate. In community circles and mental health discussions, the legend of Walking Sam has begun to transform. No longer just an omen of death, he has become a symbol of urgent need for healing, understanding, and action. Tribal leaders now use the story as a conversation starter about prevention and as a way to reach out to those who feel isolated. Today, Walking Sam still lingers in the shadows of the Pine Ridge Reservation, but his presence has also prompted a stronger network of resilience. From community centers to school programs, from traditional healing ceremonies to modern therapy, efforts continue to protect and uplift the youth. In facing the legend, the community fights to reclaim life from the darkness, one soul at a time. Number 2. Faru. Faru, also known as the Black Man or the Dark One, is a shadowy figure of Scottish folklore that has haunted the Highlands for generations. Rooted in Celtic myth and rural superstition, Faru represents the personification of darkness, isolation, and the unknown. His legend whispered from generation to generation in centuries past. He continues to cast a long and chilling shadow over Scotland's misty glens and ancient woods. The name Fardu literally translates from Gaelic to dark man. Unlike other spirits and ghosts who haunt specific places or seeks revenge, Fear Fardu is a force of nature. He is the darkness that creeps through the woods at twilight, the eerie silence before a storm, the cold dread that freezes your blood as you walk alone at night. According to legend, Fardu appears as a tall, scraggly figure cloaked in black, his face always hidden in shadow. His presence is often announced by a sudden chill in the air, the extinguishing of firelight, or the unnatural silence of birds and animals. He is said to glide rather than walk, silent as death, and can pass through walls or disappear into smoke. Fardu was used as a cautionary tale to keep children from wandering into the woods or staying out after dark. Yet the fear of Fardu wasn't just confined to the young. Adults too have been known to be affected by the Fardu. Tales tell of hunters who vanish after glimpsing his silhouette in the trees, or travelers who heard his breath behind them, only to turn and find nothing there. One of the most enduring stories of Fear Fardu is tied to a ruined kirk on the island of Mull. Centuries ago, it is said that priests conducted a midnight mass there in defiance of both God and nature, summoning Fardu in the process. The dark figure appeared, and the entire congregation vanished without a trace. Locals say if you approach the kirk on a moonless night, you can still hear the ghostly echoes of their final hymns. Scholars of folklore believe that Fardu represents not just the fear of dark, but the deeper, existential dread of the unknown. Fardu was the embodiment of those terrors, a figure who could not be reasoned with, only avoided. Yet not all see Fardu as malevolent. In some variations of the myth, he is more of a guardian than a predator, a shadowy sentinel who protects the natural order from those who disrupt it. In these stories, he punishes the greedy, the violent, and the arrogant, but leaves the humble and respectful unharmed. Whether a demon, spirit, or ancient force of the wild, Fardu continues to haunt the imagination. His legend lives on in songs, poems, and stories around the fire. And though he may be a creature of myth, those who have walked the lonely moors under a dark sky know better than to dismiss him entirely. Number 1. Slenderman. Slenderman himself was not born from ancient folklore or regional ghost stories, but rather from a 2009 internet contest hosted by Something Awful forums. Users were challenged to create realistic paranormal images. Eric Nunson, under the pseudonym Victor Surge, submitted 2 black and white photos of children with a tall, faceless figure in the background, dressed in a black suit. He accompanied these images with brief, cryptic text that suggested a fierce presence. The eerie design and suggestive narrative captured users' imaginations, and the Slenderman mythos rapidly expanded. Soon, online communities like Creepypasta and YouTube channels like Marble Hornets began building a broader lore around the character. Slenderman was said to stalk, abduct, and traumatize children. His appearance is lanky, faceless, dressed in a suit with tentacle-like limbs. Combined with his sinister motives, created a potent figure of fear that was adaptable to news stories and media. The Slenderman phenomenon became a form of modern folklore built collaboratively by internet users around the world. Unlike traditional myths passed down orally, Slenderman evolved rapidly and virally, shaped by digital storytelling and multimedia. He was featured in video games, short films, blogs, and fan fiction. Slenderman's appeal lay partly in his obscurity. He could be a monster, a spirit, or a metaphor. This vagueness allowed people to project their fears onto him, which contributed to his influence. For many, he became a digital age boogeyman, while for others, particularly vulnerable youth, he blurred the line between fiction and reality in dangerous ways. One such case happened in 2014. Morgan Geyser and Nisa Weir were two 12-year-old girls from Waukesha, Wisconsin. What began as a birthday sleepover turned into a near-fatal attack motivated by Slenderman. On May 31, 2014, Morgan Geyser was turning 12 years old. She invited her close friend Anissa Weir and another friend, Peyton Leutner, to celebrate with a sleepover. The next morning, the girls went to a nearby park. Unbeknownst to Leutner, Geyser and Weir had made a secret plan to kill her. Their motive? To appease Slenderman and prove themselves worthy to become his proxies. Geyser and Weir were consumed by these stories. They believed that by committing murder, they would gain favor with Slenderman, who they thought was real and lived in a mansion in the Nokolet National Forest. That morning in the woods, Geyser stabbed Leutner 19 times with a kitchen knife as Weir watched and urged her on. One wound nearly missed a major artery near Leutner's heart. After the attack, they told her to lie still and bleed out. Then they fled on foot, attempting to reach the forest where they believed Slenderman lived. Miraculously, Leutner survived. Despite her critical injuries, she crawled to a nearby bike path where a passing cyclist found her and called for help. Police apprehended Geyser and Weir shortly after. During interrogations, both girls expressed delusional beliefs about Slenderman and their fear of what he might do to them or their families if they failed. The case shocked the nation and ignited widespread conversations about the influence of internet culture on young minds. Mental health evaluations revealed that Geyser suffered from early onset schizophrenia, a condition rare at her age. Weir was diagnosed with shared delusion disorder, heavily influenced by Geyser's psychosis. The courts determined that both girls required psychiatric treatment rather than traditional incarceration. In 2017, Anissa Weir pleaded guilty to being a party to attempted second-degree homicide. The case proceeded to the trial phase to determine whether she was legally responsible due to mental illness. A jury found her not criminally responsible, and the judge sentenced her to up to 25 years in a state mental health facility. In the courtroom, Weir expressed her remorse, stating, quote, "I want everyone involved to know that I deeply regret what happened," unquote. Morgan Geyser also pleaded guilty to attempted first-degree homicide in a deal that allowed her to avoid prison. As part of her plea deal, she accepted a sentence of 40 years in a state mental health institution. During her court hearing, psychiatric experts testified about her diagnosis of schizophrenia and her ongoing hallucinations. The judge ruled that Geyser required extensive and long-term psychiatric care due to the severity of her condition. The court proceedings received nationwide media attention. Experts and legal analysts discussed the complex intersection of juvenile justice, mental illness, and the influence of digital mythology. Leutner, the victim of the attack, has spoken publicly about her ordeal. In an interview with ABC's 2020, she said, quote, "I didn't want to die. I remember thinking, this is it. This is how I'm going to die," unquote. Her courage and resilience became a focal point of media coverage, and many hailed her as a survivor who showed remarkable strength in the face of horror. Leutner also stated that she has tried to move on with her life despite emotional and physical scars. Referring not only to her physical wounds but the deep psychological trauma, she said, quote, "I've come to accept all the scars that I have," unquote. Public reaction was a mixture of horror, sympathy, and concern. Parents across the country questioned their children's internet use, and many were alarmed by the influence of online urban legends. News outlets, talk shows, and digital forums exploded with commentary. The case promoted discussions of mental health awareness in children, with the responsibility of online platforms and the challenges of distinguishing fantasy from reality for young, impressionable minds. The Slenderman stabbing case inspired documentaries such as HBO's Beware the Slenderman and influenced public policy discussions around mental health services. In subsequent years, Anissa Weir petitioned for conditional release and was granted it in 2021. She has strict conditions such as GPS monitoring, regular psychiatric check-ins, and restrictions on internet use. At the time of this recording, Morgan Geyser remains institutionalized. She continues her psychiatric treatment at the Winnebago Mental Health Institute. The name Slenderman may have originated from fiction, but the actions taken in his name left permanent scars in the real world. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. If you did find it interesting, please make sure you subscribe. We'll have a new video about the paranormal every week. If you just discovered this channel, please make sure you check out our other channel, Criminally Listed. We have over 325 videos featuring bizarre but true crime stories. You can find it at youtube.com/criminallylisted. Well, that's all for today. Thanks again for watching.